Cortez delivers. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone!
What you just saw was one of the most historical moments in the 2024 MLB playoffs. It had everything from a player with broken ribs hitting a walk-off grand slam to teams making improbable upsets and came from nowhere to be the best. It had it all, and today I will be giving you a recap of the games played, the MVP type players, and the overall winner of the World Series. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The playoff bracket was almost set, with two teams to go to see who would make the playoffs between the Braves, Mets, and Diamondbacks, with the Braves and Mets playing a doubleheader to decide it. As the Braves took a 3-0 lead early over the Mets, Brendan Nimmo hit a two-run homer and led the Mets to a six-run inning and take a 6-3 lead over the Braves. But the Braves weren't done fighting. With Ozzie Albies coming to the plate in the bottom of the eighth inning, he would hit a line drive to left field that would end up scoring all three runs on the base paths and giving the Braves a 7-4 lead and again taking the lead over the Mets. But the Mets weren't done fighting once again as Francisco Lindor, the shortstop, came up to the plate and hit an absolute nuke to right center field that gave the Mets another lead, 8-7. This lead would hopefully be secured in the Mets' point of view, and it would be secured with all-star closer Edwin Diaz coming in, runner on second, and Travis d'Arnaud at the plate, and he would hit a small dribbler to Francisco Lindor at shortstop for the Mets to secure a playoff berth and end the game. Game 2, though, was a little more of a blowout with the Braves winning 3-0 over the Mets in a no competition kind of game and secured the Braves a spot in the playoffs, knocking out the Diamondbacks. Now starting the wild card series, Detroit versus Houston in Houston. Detroit took an early 3-0 lead against Houston in the top of the second inning with a single from Trey Sweeney followed by another single from Matt Vierling, and now with Detroit leading 3-0 over Houston, which was a surprise since Houston had been dominant in the playoffs before. It really didn't seem like much still as Houston had one of the most powerful lineups in Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve in the lineup. But starting pitcher Tarek Skubal, who would be the future Cy Young winner in the AL in 2024, dominated Houston's lineup through six strong innings and setting him down quickly in all six innings, leading Houston 3-0 by Detroit. Houston did get one run in the ninth inning before being stopped by a line drive caught by Spencer Torkelson, and Detroit took Game 1 against Houston. Game 2 was a little less exciting, with not as much of a strong game, as Detroit had a 1-0 lead going to the bottom of the seventh inning, and a bunt to load the bases, and then a ground ball fielder's choice to home plate in a little bit of a defensive blunder. Houston took a 1-1 lead, and then a sacrifice fly would give them a 2-1 lead over Detroit. Detroit would not be done battling, though, with a wild pitch tying the game 2-2, and Josh Hader, one of the best closers in baseball, Anthony Ibanez, hit a huge triple off Josh Hader, scoring three runs and giving Detroit a strong 5-2 lead over Houston. As this would seem like the dagger against Houston, Detroit would end up securing the win against Houston, and Houston would not make the ALCS for the first time since 2016, with Detroit making the biggest upset possibly in the playoffs. In the other two wildcard games, with the Braves facing the Padres would end up sweeping the Braves in two games, and also the Royals and Orioles, with the Royals sweeping the Orioles in two games. As I do want to cover, though, the Mets and Brewers game, the series was tied 1-1 going into Game 3, top of the ninth, one out with the Brewers winning 2-0, and Pete Alonso stepped up with a huge clutch three-run homer to give the Mets a 3-2 lead. The Mets would end up scoring another run, taking a 4-2 lead over Milwaukee, and that would end up being the clincher, as Milwaukee would come up to hit in the bottom of the ninth inning and wouldn't be able to do anything, and the Mets would then move on to now face Philadelphia in the NLDS. Starting with the Mets and Phillies NLDS, Game 1 went to the Mets after a clutch comeback 6-2 win, and Game 2 ended up being a close one, with the Mets winning 4-3 in the bottom of the eighth inning, but the Phillies coming in clutch with a two-run double that gave them a 5-4 lead. They ended up scoring one more run, 6-4, and now going into the top of the ninth inning, Philadelphia had a very good chance of taking Game 2 and tying the series, but with Mark Vientos coming to the plate, he ends up skying a high fly ball to left field. Is it out number 2? Is it a home run? And it is out of here. And the game is now tied 6-6 as the Mets magic continues in this playoffs and postseason, and Mark Vientos being a hero in the top of the ninth inning. But it was not going to be enough with Castellanos and the Phillies taking a 7-6 win over the New York Mets in the end and moving to New York in a tied 1-1 series. But that Phillies win would not faze them, as in Game 3 they would shut down the Phillies in a 7-2, again comeback victory later in the game, and moving on to a potential clinching Game 4, as Francisco Lindor would do so with a grand slam. And now only 3 more innings to go till the Mets will clinch their first NLCS since 2016, and with Edwin Diaz in the game facing Kyle Schwarber, they would do so, with Kyle Schwarber striking out, and now the Mets winning the game against the Phillies and the series, moving on to the NLCS to either face the Dodgers or the Padres. Speaking of the Padres and Dodgers, that series was one of the most intense series in the postseason, with the Padres taking a 3-0 lead early with a Machado home run, but Ohtani was not fazed from that, as in the bottom of the second inning would end up tying the game 3-3 with an absolute laser shot to right field. And now the Dodgers right in this game 3-3. The Dodgers end up scoring 7 runs in total and rout the Padres 7-5 after Machado struck out by a Blake Triton slider to win Game 1. But Game 2 wasn't going to be so easy for the Dodgers, as Tatis would jump out early with a fastball by Jack Flaherty deep to left field, and Tatis would get the Padres on the board 1-0. And we'll see a little bit from Tatis later, but first Mookie Betts came to the plate for the Dodgers looking to do some damage, and he took a fastball again from the Padres pitcher. Oh, not a fastball, a slider, and that went deep, and Profar went back on that ball, and he caught the ball. And Profar, oh, did he? Did he? Oh, it's a home run. No, it is caught. Profar caught the home run ball. Absolute trolling Dodgers fans into thinking it was a home run. Trolling Mookie Betts into thinking it was a home run. And Dodgers fans weren't happy with it, as later in that game would be chirping at Profar and throwing things at Profar. Not so sportsmanlike. But that's Dodgers fans, I guess. They can be nice, but they can also have their mean sides to them. But Tatis wasn't having it, and neither were the Padres, as they would score 10 runs in the game. Tatis hit his second of the day, and a 10-1 lead for the Padres would definitely be enough as they win the game 10-2 and take Game 2, tying the series 1-1. Game 3, though, the Padres would jump early, having a 6-1 lead in the second inning with a Tatis big home run, and end up winning that game 6-5 despite the Teoscar Hernandez grand slam, and move it to Game 4 where they could potentially win the series, but the Dodgers absolutely slammed the door. 8-0 Dodgers, and Game 5 would be the deciding game for the Dodgers and Padres. Here we go. As in the bottom of the second inning, Kike Hernandez, we haven't heard much of him, hit an absolute moonshot to left field to take a 1-0 lead for the Dodgers. And then Hernandez again, no, Teoscar Hernandez, an absolute moonshot to left field, gave the Dodgers a 2-0 lead, and that was all they needed to secure the game, secure the series, and the Dodgers are moving on to face the Mets in the NLCS. Now to see who's going to be in the ALCS, as the Yankees kind of cleaned house against Kansas City and took them in 4 games, as Aaron Judge made the final catch to send them to the ALCS to either face Detroit or Cleveland, where we will get a very intense matchup, as Cleveland won Game 1 7-0, absolutely blowing out the competition, but Detroit was ready to strike back with Kerry Carpenter in the top of the ninth inning, comes to the plate against the third place Cy Young winner Emmanuel Clase, and absolutely pimps that ball straight into outer space for a go-ahead 3-run homer in the top of the ninth with 2 strikes and 2 outs. One of the most clutch hits, the most clutch hit of his career, sending this series to Game 3 tied at 1 in Detroit, where Detroit's huge hit by Spencer Torkelson down the line would give them another 3-0 lead, which would be enough to beat Cleveland again, as Detroit's Spencer Torkelson celebrating at second base, and another win for Detroit takes a 2-1 series lead going in to Game 4 as Tyler Holton shuts down the lineup of Cleveland. Now, Game 4, though, will be a doozy in a fun one, as Detroit ties the game up after an early lead by Cleveland, 1-1 with a sacrifice fly, and would now have this game tied 1-1 with one of the best hitters in baseball, Jose Ramirez, coming to the plate. And what does Jose Ramirez do? He pimps absolute moonshots. And he did right there, sending a ball to left field in the right-handed batter's box. He can do it from both sides, folks. I can tell you that. And he absolutely destroys this ball. I don't even know how to explain it. And now a 2-1 lead by Cleveland will send it to Detroit's offense, Zach McKinstry. But what can Zach McKinstry do? We haven't seen much out of him, but now we have, as Detroit is now tied this game, as Zach McKinstry tries to hit it to the same spot as Ramirez. Maybe not as far, but does his job and ties the game 2-2. Detroit would end up getting another base hit, making it 3-2, but Cleveland was not phased, as David Fry, that's my bad, hits an absolute moonshot for himself out into the bullpen, and now Cleveland takes a 4-3 lead in the top of the 7th inning, David Fry being a beast. And that 5-4 lead for Cleveland would be enough to win Game 4 and send it back to Cleveland for Game 5, where Tarek Skubal would be taking on Cleveland, and as it's a 1-1 game, here, I'll let you listen.
Swings, hits a high fly ball deep into left field. It is up. It is going to be a grand slam. Lane Thomas. What a moment.
Lane Thomas, a guy who hasn't done much for Guardians at all in the season with a late trade acquisition, gave them a lead and gave them a series lead, as that would be enough for a 7-3 win against Detroit and to move on to face the Yankees in the ALCS. And now as the stage is set, let's take a look at this NLCS, as the Yankees won both first 3 games pretty easily. So I'm going to skip ahead to Game 3, where Kyle Manzardo gave the Guardians a huge 2-1 lead over the Yankees in Game 3. And as they're trailing in the series, this is huge to give them momentum. And later in the game, as Clase and Aaron Judge faced off, Judge did not disappoint against the best closer in baseball by hitting an absolute line drive shot to tie the game 3-3, doing Judge things, MVP-like things as usual. And the Yankees weren't done after that, as Giancarlo Stanton did the same thing as Judge did, hitting an absolute nuke of a line drive, and now giving the Yankees a 4-3 lead in Game 3, where they could possibly make it so the Guardians cannot come back in the series. But the Guardians were not done fighting, as rookie John Kinsey Noel sends them into the extra innings, tying the game 5-5. They call him Big Christmas for a reason, doing big things in Cleveland and giving the Guardians a chance here in Game 3. And finally, David Fry, who had a clutch home run against Detroit, did it again against the Yankees, winning the game for Cleveland 7-5 in Game 3, doing absolutely phenomenal. What a game, possibly the best game in the playoffs so far. And as Game 4 went on, I'm just going to skip through it. Yankees won that game pretty 8-6 in a pretty fun game, but Game 5 is where it was, as Juan Soto came to the plate in extra innings and sent the Yankees to the World Series, you could say, with a 3-run shot, making it 5-2 against the Guardians. And now Juan Soto etching his name into Cooperstown with that home run, or is he, as a lifetime New York Yankee? But after that, Lane Thomas sending a fly ball in the bottom of the 10th inning will end it. The Yankees moving on to the World Series, caught by none other than Juan Soto, and facing the Dodgers or the Mets. And I'm not going to lie, that Dodgers-Mets series was kind of a blowout in every single game, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the last game, where the Dodgers were leading the Mets 10-5. And if you want to see those games, you can go look at them yourself. I'm sorry, but It was an absolute blowout in every game. So Dodgers win it 10-5, and the World Series stage is set. With it being set now, we have the Dodgers at home against the Yankees for game one, and Will Smith is going to do his job sending a fly ball to Soto. He's going to launch it at home. Kike racing to the plate, and a perfect throw. Kike beats him home, and the Dodgers take an early 1-0 lead. Should I say early? Bottom of the fifth inning. Close enough. But Giancarlo Stanton has something to say about that as that baseball touched the moon, and it's now 2-1 Yankees in the top of the sixth inning. Giancarlo Stanton never stands to disappoint. An absolute moonshot of a home run. Flaherty not pleased. Fast forward to the top of this 10th inning, and the Dodgers tied it, and the Yankees take the lead 3-2. Tommy Edman, all he could do is throw it to second. He tried his best. He won the MVP in the NLCS, so gotta love him, but still made his little error. Can the Dodgers come back from it? Of course he can. Freddie Bombs, Freddie Freeman, whatever you want to call him, Kurt Gibson, another home run. 3 straight World Series games with a home run. This one's a walk-off grand slam. You could call this game one of the best games in World Series ever. I'm not going to say that, but you could if you want to. The Dodgers now have game one in their hands going to game two. And I'm going to say game two wasn't exciting. Dodgers led 4-0 to the ninth. Yankees score 2 in the ninth, and Trevino gets a hold of this ball, but not far enough. Tommy catches it. Dodgers lead the series 2-0 going back to New York. Let me say, though, Freeman did hit a home run in that game, too. So that's 4 straight World Series games with a home run. And now Freddie Freeman's going to be in this first inning, and he shoots another fly ball. This is going to be out 4 straight World Series games with a home run dating back to the Braves Astros. Absolute beast. 4, I meant 5. 5 home runs in a row for Freeman in the World Series. Nobody can stop him at this point. Volpe, he's going to hit a base hit to left field, trying to score Giancarlo Stanton and give the Yankees a 3-run lead. He should be safe, and are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. If you're the Yankees, why do you send him there? He's the slowest player in baseball. You can't do anything about that. 4-0 Dodgers, and Verdugo's going to add a little bit of excitement for Yankees fans at that game. 4-2 in the bottom of the ninth with 2 strikes. And now Kopech needs to set up his fastball down the middle for a little ground ball, and that is what he's going to do. Torres can't do anything about that. Tommy Edman, being the fancy guy he is, turns 360 throw, and the Dodgers lead 3-0 with the potential of sweeping the Yankees in the World Series. But don't worry, Yankees fans, it'll get exciting. I promise you that. And that is another home run for Freddie Freeman. Sorry, Yankees fans, but Freddie Freeman is unstoppable in the World Series. Let's just call it 6 straight World Series games with a home run. Nobody can stop him there. Literally nobody. And he's just a beast at the plate. Such a nice guy. Great story. But Volpe has something to say about that. He said, you can hit a home run, but I can hit one bigger. A grand slam for Volpe gives the Yankees a 5-2 lead in the game. The biggest home run of his career. Hometown kid doing his job. Dodgers fans stunned by it. Yankees fans all of a sudden excited. And Anthony Volpe is giving the Yankees some life in the World Series. But they're not done as they get 7-4 lead eventually. And Gleyber Torres, insult to injury, another home run. At this point, some people say the Yankees can't be stopped. It's 11-4. Dodgers can't pull a miracle off here. And the Yankees take game 4 11-4, forcing a game 5 at Yankee Stadium. So let's hope they start off hot, Yankees fans. And that's what they're going to do is Aaron Judge does it again for, I shouldn't say again, his first big moment in the World Series. It's 2-0 Yankees now, an absolute moonshot off Jack Flaherty. And Aaron Judge pimps that ball all the way to the stands. Could this get any better? Yes, it can. Jazz Chisholm, an absolute missile of a home run, farther than Judge's, some people say. I don't know the exact measure on that, but Jazz Chisholm makes the moment even bigger. Yankees now lead 3-0. Some people say they can't be stopped with this kind of lead, this kind of team. The momentum is absolutely phenomenal, and now they lead 5-0 going into the top of the fifth inning. And Tommy Edman, just a little line drive to Judge, looks the runner back, and oh boy, that ball is dropped. But Judge, it could happen to anybody. It just happened at the wrong moment for Judge. Yankees can get out of it. Garrett Cole's a beast. Shouldn't be anything. See, he got his ground ball for Smith, Volpe to third, and he spiked it. Well, the Yankees now have the bases loaded, nobody out on the defense side. The Dodgers in a perfect situation to strike, but Garrett Cole's going to strike out Lux and Otani to get to Betts. Gets his ground ball to Rizzo. Rizzo flips to the bag and nobody's there. Garrett Cole does not cover the bag. The biggest defensive blunder in history. The Yankees 3 errors. It's now 5-1, but it's only 5-1. Yankees. Freddie Freeman, he doesn't have his home run, but he does have a 2 RBI single. It's now 5-3 Yankees. Teoscar Hernandez, that ball is deep. That's going to bounce off the nitro tire wall. And the Yankees and Dodgers are tied at 5. Some people say that's the worst inning in baseball history, the worst inning in World Series history from a defensive standpoint. I might have to agree on that of what I've seen. And now in the top of the 8th inning, tied 6-6. Betts gets his fly ball. He pumps his fist in the air. Out to Judge. He'll throw it into second. The Dodgers have a lead in this game, and I'll let you guys watch.
The Dodgers a strike away from a championship, from a proper celebration. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
Some people call it the biggest comeback in World Series history. Some people call it the worst blunder in World Series history by the Yankees. But other than that, congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers for winning the 2024 World Series. Thank you for watching. Of course, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And thanks for always watching. And Tack Rat out.